Yo, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out the first video that I'm putting out here. This is a shit show at this point. We all know it, but I feel like we weren't prepared for Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Obviously, you know, it was a mess all over the place, up and down. People yelling over each other, questions going unanswered. The moderator, Chris Wallace, just looked like he was ready to tap out the whole time. We knew it wasn't good, but I feel like there was a few hidden gems in there.
Let's check them out.
One of the obvious ones was the fact that, you know, both candidates, to put it frankly, suck when it comes to their healthcare plan. You know, you have Trump, who's doing everything in his power right now to take away Obamacare during a health crisis, which doesn't make much sense, but then it's worse or magnified when you realize that Republicans still to this day don't have a real replacement. They're just hell-bent on destroying Obamacare, even though Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act, which Obama didn't create himself. He kind of took the idea from Mitt Romney. So don't know if you knew that, but Obamacare is actually a Republican produced legislation. And then you compare that with Joe Biden, who is against Medicare for all when a vast majority of his party approves it. There's studies that show that, you know, 70% of Americans believe that Medicare for all is a good idea. And it's kind of been consistent for a couple years now. The pharmaceutical industry continues to eat. Another one that I like, because I'm not a Trump fan by any means, but I gotta give the guy credit where it's due as far as, you know, one-line zingers in a debate. It's gonna have, you know, catchy or memorable quotes and stuff that you say, and I really think that it does kind of show the difference between the two when Trump says, you know, Joe, I've done more in 47 months than you've done in 47 years. Whether that's true or not, Joe has been in Washington, D.C. and having a heavy hand in the policies and the legislations that's kind of been pushed by the Democratic Party for the past, you know, 30 plus years. He's had a heavy hand in a lot of stuff that's going on. So when Trump compares his 47-year record to, you know, his 47 months, and, you know, Joe is now trying to paint himself as somebody who is open to, you know, more left ideas, or someone who's pretty much not a token piece of the Democratic establishment. I thought that was a pretty fair point by Trump. And I don't want to just obviously make this a black issue, but obviously me being a black man, I just wanted to kind of put that on the forefront because it felt like when it came time to speak to me, I felt like Chris Wallace, the question he provided was pretty much like this. All right, gentlemen, we're going to wrap up here and go on to the next topic here. Next topic on hand, black people. Go! And you just watch Trump and Biden. What's that? You know, that Spider-Man meme? It's two Spider-Man pointing at each other, and they're just like, you know, trying to acknowledge, like, no, you're the guy, or I'm you and you're me. It was pretty much like that, where they were both taking turns trying to claim the other person was more racist. Then Trump got called out for his taxes. I was super excited for this moment because I was curious to see what Trump was going to say. Trump pretty much just deflected by saying, yeah, of course, I'm a super rich guy, and who likes paying taxes unless they're stupid?
Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars,
So
yes.
not 750?
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it. But let me just tell you, Chris, let me just tell you something, that it was the tax laws.
I don't want to pay tax.
Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person.
So unless they're stupid,
they go through the laws, and that's what it is.
And then he called out Joe Biden for helping Trump to take advantage of such tax opportunities by saying that, yeah, dude, you and Barack Obama pretty much created the policies that allowed me to do such things. So this is all your fault if you think about it. You know, in typical Trump fashion, like that's not really a way to address it, but he's just deflecting and putting it back on Joe. And I did not think Joe handled that well.
President Biden, you want to respond?
Yeah, I do want to respond. Look, the tax
code that made him, put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher on the money a school teacher makes, is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax code.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
And lastly, how can we not talk about the sweet, sweet irony of this scene?
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
This is a striking announcement from the President of the United States. He said that the end of the pandemic was in sight. Well, clearly the President is dealing with his own battle with this virus right now, Brian.
Man, I just love me some good karma. So now that we saw two old white men beat up on each other, now we need to see a middle-aged black woman and what appears to be immortal deity. I don't even know how to describe Pence. I'm gonna not even play with y'all. These two gotta go toe-to-toe for some reason, but I'm starting to question, why is there even a need for a vice presidential debate? Like, think about it. Like, what is the VP at this point gonna do in 2020? Everyone has already decided. VPs don't do anything in the grand scheme of getting voters to come out, right? So you compare that to, let's say Mike Pence, right? Where has Mike Pence been this entire COVID ordeal? I mean, Trump said that he had that little, that stupid task force, the COVID task force with Dr. Fauci. They were doing daily press conferences the first couple of weeks and just went MIA after that. And look, I'm not the biggest Fauci fan. I don't know what to believe when he says it, because he is kind of out there on record giving conflicting narratives. But at the same time, Vice President Pence, that's supposed to be you checking that, handling that situation. I haven't seen Pence since that, last press conference that they gave. And so I'm just confused as to what is he going to do, right? Like, what is he going to do if Trump wins again? What is this guy that's walking on the stage and going to tell me, hey, yeah, don't forget Trump is great? Like, what is he going to do to get me to think about Trump in a different light, right? Same thing kind of with Kamala, where I don't really know what she's supposed to do other than, keep reminding the Democratic base that, hey, we're the ones that's, tolerable of black people. I just don't know, right? When you even think about when Joe Biden was the vice president and when he was only good for the cookout memes, if I'm going to be honest, remember it was, oh, Joe Biden can come to the cookout. Joe Biden can come to the cookout. Well, now Joe forgot where the cookout is, man. He's old. He doesn't remember where the address is. And he pulled up to the wrong person's backyard and asking where the grill at. I don't know what we're supposed to get out of this, but so for the best. I'm pretty much going to chop this up into 3 different categories for both candidates. I'm going to talk about what both candidates' primary goals will be tonight, what we as viewers can expect to see from both, and I'm going to give you guys my dream moment that'll never happen ever from both candidates, but it'll be pretty awesome if it actually did. First up, Mike Pence. So Mike Pence's primary goal tonight will be what his daily goal as vice president is. He's on stage to remind evangelicals that Trump is pretty much God in the flesh. The super religious, hey, I vote on morals and principles and not on anything else. And so by that standard alone, abortion is the only stance I have and who I'm going to vote for. Those people, he's just going to remind people that, Democrats are baby killers. They hate God. They don't love this country. And he's just going to make those people who are complete hypocrites, just give them a little bit of self-esteem so they can continue to look themselves in the mirror every day and feel good about voting for someone that stands for everything that they're against, or at least claim to be against. You can expect Pence to pretty much follow the same model that Trump did. during his debate with Joe Biden is pretty much going to try to paint Kamala Harris as a radical left socialist. So, and by doing so, he's going to talk about the law and order, which is so weird. You know, like they try to paint Kamala and Joe Biden as, hey, they're radical left. They're going to defund the police. When Kamala was the biggest cop in California, Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill, and Trump threw that against him. So in the same debate, Trump called him out for, yeah, you don't care about black people. You wrote the 94 crime bill. And then 2 seconds later, accused Joe Biden of being too friendly to criminals because he wants to defund the police. It just goes to show you that the messaging is insincere. It's all over the place, but it just works for their base. So as long as they keep touting out that law and order, even though the people they're going against are pro law and order, it's going to work. So expect to see that. You're going to see a lot of pandering towards the need for Trump to get sympathy for COVID. They're going to talk about how the Democrats are at fault for him contracting COVID for some reason. And then lastly, he's just going to remind people that Trump is awesome. I mean, that's pretty much what he's going to do. And by reminding people that Trump is awesome, he's just going to keep saying it without providing any real context. So in, it's American society 2020, you say things enough time, it just becomes true. So by the end of the debate, the brainwashing will have worked for a lot of the Republican base. And so I believe Mike will be effective tonight, regardless of what he does, because you can't lose that base. Like, they don't care. So you can expect them to kind of play with fire tonight. My dream moment for Mike Pence, I would pay money, literally physically dig in my pocket, open my wallet, grab some cash, and hand it over to Mike Pence if he somehow had the balls to, actually, I don't even know why I'm making this seem like he would be scared to do it. I think this would be a smart tactic for he and Trump to kind of contrast themselves within their party to Joe Biden and Kamala. I just wish he would just remind the audience that Kamala ran for president and nobody cared. Nobody cared. You call out the Democrats for the symbolic gesture of trying to put in the first black VP. When this black VP ran for president, black people saw that she was black, her and Cory Booker, and we didn't care because we got tricked up with the Obama presidency. I guess you can say the whole thing about just, hey, we gonna black it up. We gonna blackity black. But we got to see the policies, dog. In 2020, you got young people of color looking at her and, throwing Cory Booker in there because he was a black man running at the time. Two Democrat black people running and nobody cared because the policies wasn't there. And so I wish Pence would say, hey, your party is asking for Joe to defund the police, and Joe hired the biggest cop in California. How does that sound like you guys are listening to your base? I don't know, man. That'll be a good body blow. So Kamala's primary goal for the night will be to pretty much just be black and remind voters that while both candidates suck, only one of the candidates can tolerate black people. She's going to pretty much just go up there and just try to remind that Joe Biden is trying his best to have a party that reflects the nation. Yeah, just get ready for Pander City. Things that you can expect from Kamala. I initially thought she would have several haymakers ready for Trump, but I feel like she would have to put her punches to some degree due to Trump currently dealing with his case of COVID. So I think she will attack the president, but I believe that they're aware that there's a fine line that you have to walk while a man he's trying to downplay his condition, but Trump is an old-ass, obese man with COVID, and those two red flags that you should not kind of be taken lightly if you're someone that's going to be dealing with that. And so I think Kamala's going to focus on Trump, but then also just kind of sugarcoat it within the administration or, the Trump administration or Republicans, so that she's still contrasting the two parties, but not really attacking Trump in a way to where Trump will look like a victim tonight. But as far as them speaking to their party, I told you guys, it's going to be pander city. All they're going to do is try to speak to each and every coalition within the Democratic Party. Even though we all don't agree and all don't have the same plans, they're going to talk to us as if we're just one monolithic group of people. So that means that Joe Biden, the king of the blacks, if you don't know whether you're voting for me or Donald Trump, you ain't black, that guy, he has Kamala to kind of tell us, like, hey, if I say it, does it make sense? And my answer is no, but she's going to try to make that case. Kamala being up there is also just going to be symbolic of a woman being on stage, something that a lot of people was looking for with Hillary, but it's just a little different because Hillary would have been president, and now Miss Harris would be the vice president, and she would be serving under a guy who has a shady history himself when it comes to sexual harassment places, or even, you Google creepy Joe Biden right now, and you'll probably be disturbed with what you see. So it's just weird that, again, they're pandering to, we're going to be pro-women when I don't know if Joe's the champion for that. And then lastly, and this is the most insulting to me, they're going to try to act like they're the poor and working class champions when in reality they don't care about you. Congress is on leave right now. We're going in month 7 of the pandemic here in America. They told everybody to go home, stay away from your family, stay away from social events. And a lot of people are unemployed. And they gave you one stimulus check. Told everybody go home, don't work for 7 months. Gave you one check to deal with it. So, again, it's just the irony all over the place. You'll see it. You'll see it. You'll know it when you see it. My dream moment that'll never happen for Kamala. Last debate, Trump asked Joe Biden to say anything positive or that he's pro-police in an attempt to dare Joe to kind of ostracize some people within the Democratic Party. Obviously, there's a lot of people on the left who are on a defund the police movement, and Joe has to be conscious of that. He's on the record saying that he doesn't believe we should defund the police. Actually, he's on the record saying that police need more funding. It's another story for another day. But he was challenged by Trump to say it, and Joe couldn't because Trump was right. Joe was aware he couldn't upset that part of the base, and so he kind of chickened his way out of the answer. When I was watching that, I was just thinking, like, Joe, like, yeah, that's the case, but Trump has the same issue as well. Dare him to say Black Lives Matter. He can't. He won't. Because if he did, he too would ostracize a large section of his party. Joe isn't able to think on his feet like that, so that easy answer didn't come to him. But Kamala has a chance to do it, and I almost rather Pence answer that question. Because I truly believe that he's not human, and this is our best shot to see him, like, short circuit. Like, you'll see the robot, his robot face may fall off, and sparks might come out because he can't compute how to say Black Lives Matter. He's going to say all lives matter, and I want Kamala to keep pushing on him. And, are Black lives included in that? Of course. Well, why can't you say Black Lives Matter? But because all lives matter, but aren't Black lives included in that? Of course. Then say Black Lives Matter, and you'll just see him just keep going back and forth, and eventually he'll just go, brain does not compute, and hopefully short circuit. I mean, it's a small chance that Mike Pence is a robot, but I don't know any other time in human history where we will be able to have him on national TV and be able to see him reveal himself.